this week I'm talking about a question that we get every so often, and it is an almost impossible question to answer, but I am going to do my best to give you some ideas as possibly why and how to improve that. And that is, folks see my videos, they see our posts on Facebook, they come in and they see the video playing on the TV screen of someone's backyard, and they go, why not my yard? Well, and I have that feeder. Why don't I have those kind of birds? Or why don't I have that many birds coming to my feeders? I tried, I did what you said. You said you had a favorite this, and I put it out. Well, it's hard to answer that. But let's just say, remember that not all yards are created equal. When I do talks about attracting birds to your backyard, I always talk about, you've probably heard me say it many times, food, water, and shelter. Those are the keys for all things to survive. And what we try to do here at the Backyard Bird Center is help you address those in your yard. If you already have a bird feeder out there, if you've come in and you've bought a bird feeder, you obviously care about birds. But what we're going to do is try to address food, water, and shelter. And those things you can't, and the one that is the most overlooked and the single most important thing that you should provide for birds is unfrozen water, especially right now. A heated bird bath or a bird bath with a de-icer in it is so important right now. We have had an extremely dry winter. And the birds are having to travel distances to seek out sources of water. And as cold as it's been the last week or two, they're having a hard time finding sources of unfrozen water. Now, we'll always have warmer spells in winter when water can thaw and be open for them, but we have really cold stretches, and generally the month of January is our coldest stretch of weather, and unfrozen water is critical for birds, especially things like bluebirds and Carolina wrens and mockingbirds, and some of these birds that don't necessarily eat at your bird feeders that often, but they are supplementing off of berries and things like that nature, and even insects. But unfrozen water is the key. You've heard me say before, if you have open water for them, you'll be stealing your neighbor's birds. And I want you to, at this point, I want you to think about your yard and what you have available for them. Think about the cover that you have available for them. Think of the water source you have available for them and the food sources you have available for them. So when you think about your neighbors all around you, or a block away, or 2 blocks away, or a quarter mile away, remember, for a bird to fly a quarter of a mile is not that far for them. And they will seek out better habitat where they feel safer. So placing a bird bath out in the middle of an open area doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get birds at that bird bath if they don't feel safe. So that escape cover, and I did a video a couple weeks ago, and I know the sound was horrible. Hopefully the new microphone is working today. But we did one on building a brush pile. Because birds, when you've got to go fly across a wide open area to get to food, you got to fly across a wide open area to get to water, you're not going to utilize that or stay there for very long. And especially if the alternative is just to fly a block away and somebody else's yard is well landscaped and they haven't cut out all to feel safe coming to your feeders, they're going to do that. And so your yard's going to get bypassed for a better yard with more cover, water available to them, and feed. Whereas if you've just got feed, you're probably not going to have nearly as much as luck. So I can't help you address your cover that much. If your landscaping is such as just wide open, add cover. Watch my video on building a brush pile. That way help you. A Christmas tree, a live Christmas tree that you're just finishing up with, get all the tinsel off of it, anything you might have put on it, stake it out in your yard, drive something in the ground, a piece of wood you can tie it to so the wind doesn't blow it. That makes a great escape cover for your birds for the next couple of months, because those needles will stay on that Christmas tree for a long time. And then by spring, you get a couple of months, you can take it to the dump, or you can take it to the Smithville Lake where they sink them for fish cover, things like that. There's a lot of things you can do with live Christmas trees, but having it in your yard as a source of escape cover for them will help you and help your birds feel safe at your feeders and at your bird bath. So that's an important one. So Unfrozen Water and the scape cover are huge. Now, the selection of the feeder and the type of seed you buy will greatly affect that question of why not in my yard? Well, I have that feeder, or I have. What do you need, especially if you're just starting? Remember, a lot of my videos are about how to expand your backyard for bird feeding. In other words, adding feeders and adding seed choices that may bring in different birds to your backyard. But the basics of it, just if you're just getting started, the single best seed there is, believe me, is just straight black oil sunflower seed. More widely accepted seed than anything on the market. Birds like black oil sunflower. They love it. It's high in oil. It's easy to crack open. So if you only have one choice of feeding in your backyard, make it black oil sunflower to get you good and started. Now, a good sunflower-based mix like Boardwalk Blend is over 60% black oil sunflower, but it also has some Nutrisap in it, and peanuts and striped sunflower, things that will expand the bird appeal there. But if you want to keep it simple, black oil is the best. And if you're going to choose a feeder, a new feeder, and you have choices of a feeder like this or a feeder like this, always choose the one that doesn't exclude anybody. The finch feeders are expansion feeders. These are feeders for you to add to your feeder station to help you provide seed for specialty birds like goldfinches and purple finches, things like that. It takes a specialty seed like Niger, which most birds don't like, but your finches love it. So that's why when we talk about favorite finch feeders, we talk about things that appeal to your finches, which is a specialty feeder. A general feeder like an open tray or a hopper doesn't exclude birds. So the goldfinches can feed from this as well as the cardinals and the blue jays. So black oil sunflower or Boardwalk Blend in an open tray like this will be very inclusive to the birds that are coming to your yard, not exclusive like a finch feeder. So start very generally and with your seed and your feeder, and then build your feeder station over time. Will help you out a lot rather than starting with a specialty feeder, because there's just a much more limited appeal to that. So hopefully that makes sense. So we got water for everybody, and everybody needs it. Shelter, birds need it. They need to feel safe. And when I mean shelter, I mean escape cover. Bird houses are a whole different topic. Got lots of videos on those. But what we're talking about is places for birds to get out of the elements, and for birds to get to feel safe whenever that Cooper's hawk comes flying through your yard. So your cover, and then your food choices. A very general, wide appealing feeder and a wide appealing seed will do a lot to get the birds coming, and then birds of a feather flock together. The other birds will come, and lots of birds will be attracted to those birds feeding there as well. So that's the way to get started. Maybe that'll help you solve the dilemma of why you're not getting so many birds in your backyard. Maybe this will expand that, and we're always glad to talk about that. Thanks for the idea for the program. That was a great idea. Send in future ideas, if you would. Ask for ideas for future programs. Give us a like, share. All that helps us out here as a small business. And until then, come by. Let's talk birds.